Commander Jake Martinez stared at the radar screen with growing concern. The green dots appeared 3 days ago as faint signals at the edge of their detection range. Now they filled the entire display like a swarm of angry bees heading straight for Earth. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked again, hoping the readings would change. They did not. "Lisa, run another deep scan," Jake called to the communications officer at the next station. Lisa Webb had been monitoring space traffic for 5 years from the New Horizon orbital defense platform. She had never seen anything like this before. "Sir, I count over 2,000 objects moving in perfect formation," Lisa reported, her voice shaking slightly. "They are too big to be asteroids and moving too fast to be natural. The lead ships will reach Earth orbit in 18 hours, Ryan Cole, the tactical analyst, looked up from his computer terminal. His face was pale as he processed the incoming data. "Commander, these ships are massive. The largest ones are 10 times bigger than our biggest battleships. Their energy signatures show power levels we have never seen before." Jake felt his stomach drop. He had trained for many scenarios during his military career, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. He pressed the red emergency button on his console and opened a direct line to Earth Command. "This is New Horizon Station calling Admiral Blake. We have a code red situation. Unknown fleet approaching Earth. Request immediate conference." "Admiral." Susan Blake appeared on the main screen within minutes. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her blue eyes showed the same concern Jake felt. Behind her, the command center of the Enterprise Dawn buzzed with activity as officers prepared for the unknown. "Commander Martinez, send me everything you have," Blake ordered. "How long until they reach us?" 17 hours and counting, Admiral. "The fleet is slowing down but maintaining formation. They seem to know exactly where they are going." Blake studied the data for several long minutes. The silence stretched across space as everyone waited for her decision. Finally, she spoke with the calm voice of someone who had commanded ships for 30 years. "Prepare all defensive stations. Alert every military base on Earth and in space. Send a message to the incoming fleet on all frequencies. We need to know what they want." Lisa worked quickly at her communications panel. She broadcast the same message in dozens of languages and mathematical formulas. "Unknown fleet. This is Earth Defense Command. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. We wish to communicate peacefully." The response came faster than anyone expected. The main screen filled with the image of a creature that looked nothing like a human. Its skin was dark blue and covered with scales. 3 eyes glowed red above a mouth full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, the words came through the translation system in perfect English. "I am War Admiral Vexfer of the Zephyrian Empire. Your planet has been selected for conquest and resource extraction. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. Resist and we will make you suffer before we take what we want." Jake felt the blood drain from his face. Around him, the crew of New Horizon Station sat in stunned silence. The alien continued speaking without waiting for a response. "You have one of your time periods called hours to evacuate your military vessels and prepare for occupation. Any ship that remains in space after that time will be destroyed. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our shields. Your technology is like toys compared to our power." The transmission ended, leaving the humans staring at a blank screen. Admiral Blake was the first to recover from the shock. Her voice cut through the silence like a knife. "All stations, this is Admiral Blake. Prepare for battle. I do not care what they think of our weapons. Earth will not surrender without a fight. Every ship, every station, every weapon we have will be used to defend our home." Jake watched as the alien fleet moved closer to Earth. Their ships were beautiful in a terrifying way, with smooth curves and glowing energy fields that pulsed like heartbeats. The largest vessel was the size of a small city, bristling with weapons that could probably destroy entire continents. "Sir, our ships are taking positions around Earth," Ryan reported. "The lunar defense grid is online. All orbital platforms are armed and ready. Lisa continued trying to contact other governments and military forces around the world. Everyone is responding, Commander? The Chinese, Russians, Europeans, everyone is preparing to fight together. The next few hours passed like a nightmare. Human ships moved into defensive formations while the alien fleet approached with the confidence of predators stalking helpless prey. Jake knew their weapons were no match for alien technology, but he also knew that humans had never been good at giving up without a fight. When the first alien ship entered Earth's orbital space, Admiral Blake gave the order that would change everything. All ships, open fire. Show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. The battle for Earth had begun. The first human missiles struck the alien shields and exploded harmlessly against barriers of pure energy. Jake watched from New Horizon Station as Earth's most powerful weapons failed to even scratch the enemy ships. The aliens responded with beams of plasma that cut through human vessels like hot knives through butter. In less than 30 minutes, half of Earth's space fleet was destroyed. The Enterprise Dawn took 3 direct hits before Admiral Blake ordered the surviving ships to retreat to the surface. The aliens had proven their point without even trying hard. General Carl Torres stood in the command bunker deep beneath Colorado as reports flooded in from around the world. The aliens were landing in major cities everywhere. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow. Nowhere was safe from the invasion force that descended from the sky like metal rain. Sir, we are losing contact with military bases across the globe, reported his aide, Lieutenant Karen Price. The aliens are using some kind of interference that blocks our communications. Torres watched the satellite feeds as long as they lasted. Alien ships the size of skyscrapers landed in Central Park on the Thames. In Red Square, smaller craft swarmed through the streets while strange beings in powered armor stepped out to claim their new territory. The Zephyrian soldiers were 7 feet tall and moved with mechanical precision. Their weapons fired bolts of energy that could melt steel or stun humans from hundreds of yards away. They expected Earth's armies to surrender once they saw the hopeless situation. They were wrong about humans. In Chicago, Tony Rodriguez was working in his auto repair shop when the aliens landed 3 blocks away. He watched through his window as the strange creatures began setting up some kind of command post in the middle of the street. Instead of running like his neighbors, Tony got angry. "Nobody takes over my neighborhood," he muttered, reaching for the hunting rifle his grandfather had left him. Tony's first shot bounced off the alien's armor without doing any damage. The creature turned toward his shop with what might have been amusement in its 3 red eyes. Tony fired again and again, but the bullets had no effect on the advanced materials. Then Tony noticed something interesting. When his shots hit the alien's weapon, small sparks flew from the device. The energy rifle flickered and went dark for a few seconds before coming back online. Tony smiled for the first time since the invasion began. 2 hours later, Tony had taken apart 3 alien weapons he found in the street. The creatures who carried them were nowhere to be found, probably called away to deal with other problems. Tony was good with machines, and these alien devices were just very advanced machines. "The power source connects here," he said to himself, rewiring the energy cells. "And if I reverse this connection and add a human battery pack right there?" When Tony fired his modified alien weapon at an abandoned car, the vehicle exploded in a ball of green fire. The weapon worked perfectly in human hands once someone figured out how to make it run on Earth technology. Meanwhile, in rural Montana, Beth Williams was having her own problems with uninvited guests. A squad of 12 alien soldiers had decided to use her farm as a base while they patrolled the surrounding area. They treated her land like it belonged to them, which made Beth very unhappy. Beth had lived on the farm for 40 years. She knew every hill, every valley, every place where the ground was soft or hard. The aliens walked around her property like tourists, never thinking that an old human woman might be dangerous. They learned better when Beth triggered the first trap. She had spent 2 days digging holes and covering them with branches and dirt. When the alien patrol walked through her north pasture, 3 of them fell 15 feet into pits filled with sharp wooden stakes. Their armor protected them from serious injury, but they were stuck until their friends could pull them out. While the aliens were busy with rescue operations, Beth used the hunting rifle she had carried since she was 12 years old. She aimed carefully at the glowing parts of their equipment and fired once. The alien communication device exploded in a shower of sparks. "Now you cannot call for help," Beth said quietly. Working the bolt action to load another round. By sunset, the alien squad was down to 6 members. Beth had destroyed their communication gear, their vehicle, and most of their supplies using nothing but knowledge of her own land and weapons that were older than the aliens' grandparents. In cities around the world, similar scenes played out. As humans refused to accept defeat, Dr. Amanda Foster was trapped in her laboratory at Stanford University when the aliens took control of the campus. Instead of hiding, she used her training as a xenobiologist to study the enemy. Amanda collected pieces of alien equipment that had been damaged in the fighting. She worked for 18 hours straight, taking apart energy cells, armor plating, and weapon components. What she discovered changed everything. "The aliens are not as advanced as they want us to think," she wrote in her research notes. "Their technology is powerful but simple. It relies on energy frequencies that human equipment can disrupt. More importantly, their weapons are designed to work against enemies who fight like they do. They have no defense against irregular tactics." As the first week of occupation ended, the aliens controlled the major cities but faced unexpected problems everywhere else. Humans disappeared into forests, mountains, and abandoned buildings. They emerged at night to steal supplies, sabotage equipment, and rescue captured friends. The Zephyrians had conquered planets before, but they had never fought an enemy that refused to stay conquered. Every human settlement became a fortress. Every human civilian became a potential threat. The quick victory they expected turned into a long, difficult war against an entire planet that would not give up. War Admiral Dexver stood in his command ship above Earth and studied reports from his ground forces. Human resistance was growing stronger every day instead of weaker. His soldiers were requesting more supplies, more reinforcements, more time to complete what should have been a simple occupation. For the first time since the invasion began, Dexver wondered if his empire had chosen the wrong planet to conquer. 6 months after the invasion began, Danny Kim sat in the basement of a destroyed office building in Seoul, surrounded by computers and alien technology. The 28-year-old software engineer had become something the Zephyrians never expected. A human who could hack their systems. Danny had started with simple tasks like breaking alien communication codes. Now he was inside their main computer network, reading their battle plans and sending false orders to their troops. The aliens had powerful technology, but they had never faced an enemy who understood computers better than they did. "Lisa, are you ready with the fake message?" Danny asked his partner, a former television reporter who had learned to speak the Zephyrian language. Lisa Shun nodded and began recording. "Attention all ground units. Enemy resistance has collapsed in Sector 7. Reduce patrols and prepare for resource extraction operations." Danny smiled as he sent the message through the alien communication system. In 20 minutes, most of the Zephyrian troops in downtown Seoul would leave their positions to collect supplies that did not exist. Human resistance fighters were waiting to ambush them in the empty streets. This was the new kind of war that humanity had learned to fight. Instead of trying to match alien firepower, humans used their brains to turn enemy advantages into weaknesses. Every day brought new victories as people found creative ways to hurt their invaders. In the Australian outback, Captain Maria Santos led a group of 60 fighters through the Red Desert. Half were former soldiers, half were ordinary people who had refused to accept occupation. They moved at night and hid during the day, striking at alien supply convoys before disappearing into the endless wilderness. "Target approaching from the north," whispered Sergeant Pete Murphy, watching through binoculars as an alien transport moved along the single road that crossed this part of the desert. Maria studied the vehicle through her own scope. It was heavily armored and carried enough supplies to feed an alien base for a month. More importantly, it was traveling alone because the Zephyrians believed nothing dangerous lived in this empty land. "Remember the plan?" Maria told her team. "Jenny and Bob take out the escorts. Everyone else focuses on the main vehicle. We have 30 seconds before they can call for help." The ambush was perfect. Explosives planted under the road disabled the transport's engines while human fighters attacked from 3 directions. The alien crew never had a chance to send a distress signal before modified alien weapons turned their vehicle into scrap metal. "Collect everything useful," Maria ordered as her people swarmed over the wreckage. "Food, weapons, equipment, anything we can use or trade. We move out in 5 minutes." By the time alien reinforcements arrived, the human fighters had vanished into the desert like ghosts. They left behind only twisted metal and a message painted on a nearby rock. "Earth fights back." The breakthrough that changed everything happened in a secret laboratory in the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Nathan Brooks had been studying captured alien technology for months, trying to understand how their most dangerous weapons worked. The aliens used devices that could control human minds, turning captured soldiers into willing slaves. Earth's military leaders were terrified of this technology because it seemed impossible to defend against. Nathan discovered that they were wrong. "Run the test again," Nathan told his assistant, Dr. Carol White, as they prepared another experiment. With captured alien mind control equipment, Carol activated the device and pointed it at Nathan's head. The machine hummed with energy as it tried to rewrite his thoughts and make him obey alien commands. Nathan felt pressure in his skull and heard strange whispers, but his mind remained his own. "It is not working," Carol said, checking the readings on her instruments. "The device is functioning perfectly, but it cannot affect human brain patterns." Nathan grinned as he realized what this meant. "We are immune. Human neural patterns are too different from other species. The aliens designed this weapon to work on minds like their own, not minds like ours." Within days, Nathan's discovery was shared with resistance groups around the world. Humans could walk through alien mind control fields without being affected. This immunity, combined with humanity's natural tendency to work together and protect each other, created tactical situations the aliens could not understand. The Zephyrians had conquered dozens of worlds by turning enemy soldiers against their own people. When that strategy failed on Earth, they had no backup plan. Their military doctrine assumed that superior technology would always defeat inferior weapons, but humans kept proving them wrong. In London, former police officer Kevin Murphy led a team of saboteurs through the ruins of Parliament. The aliens had set up a major command center in the old building, thinking that controlling Earth's government buildings would give them psychological power over the human population. Kevin's team had spent weeks learning the alien patrol schedules and security systems. They moved through maintenance tunnels and service corridors that the invaders did not know existed, carrying enough explosives to level several city blocks. "The power generators are on the 3rd floor," Kevin whispered to his team as they reached their target. "Sam and Terry plant charges there while the rest of us hit the communication array on the roof." The explosion lit up the London sky and knocked out alien communications across southern England. More importantly, it sent a message to every human who saw the flames. The aliens were not unbeatable. Similar attacks happened everywhere, as humans learned to fight smarter instead of harder. In Paris, resistance fighters poisoned alien food supplies with bacteria that made the invaders sick but did not harm humans. In Tokyo, hackers crashed alien computer systems by flooding them with Earth's most addictive video games. The aliens controlled the major cities, but they were losing the war for human hearts and minds. Every day brought new resistance fighters, as ordinary people decided they would rather die fighting than live as slaves. War. Admiral Vexfer received increasingly desperate reports from his ground commanders. Equipment losses were mounting, supply lines were constantly under attack, and morale among Zephyrian troops was dropping rapidly. "Sir, we need more reinforcements," reported Ground Commander Vextal during their daily briefing. "The humans are not fighting like any enemy we have faced before. They adapt to our tactics faster than we can change them." Vexfer studied the battle reports with growing concern. His empire had been fighting wars for thousands of years, but they had never encountered an enemy quite like humanity. These creatures seemed to get stronger when things looked hopeless, and they refused to accept defeat even when facing impossible odds. For the first time since the invasion began, Vexver wondered if the Zephyrian Empire had made a terrible mistake by attacking Earth. Admiral Vexver stood before the holographic display in his command chamber, watching red warning lights spread across the map of Earth like a disease. Each light represented a failed mission, a destroyed supply depot, or a communication blackout, in areas that should have been completely under Zephyrian control. Explain to me how primitive humans are destroying our equipment faster than we can replace it, Vexver demanded of his staff. His voice carried the cold anger of a military leader who was used to quick victories, not prolonged struggles. Ground Commander Vextel stepped forward, his blue skin darker than usual with stress. Sir, the humans do not fight like other species. We have conquered, they use their own planet against us. They know every hiding place, every weakness in our positions. When we adapt to their tactics, they change faster than we can respond. From her stolen fighter cockpit, pilot Emma Grant listened to alien radio chatter as she prepared for the most dangerous mission of her life. The 26-year-old former Air Force captain had learned to fly captured Zephyrian aircraft through months of trial and error. Now she led a squadron of 12 human pilots in ships that should have been impossible for Earth's people to operate. Remember, we hit fast and get out faster, Emma told her team over the radio. The supply depot has enough alien technology to equip 1,000 resistance fighters, but it is also heavily defended. We get one chance at this. Emma's squadron dove toward the alien base hidden in the mountains of Colorado. The Zephyrians had chosen the location because it was isolated and defensible, but they had not expected humans to attack from the air using their own technology. The battle was over in minutes. Human pilots, flying with the desperation of people defending their homeworld, overwhelmed alien defenses that were designed to fight conventional enemies. Emma's ship was hit twice, but she managed to destroy the main storage facility before limping back to base. Package delivered, Emma reported as she watched the alien depot explode behind her. That should keep our people supplied for months. The success of Emma's raid sent shockwaves through the Zephyrian command structure. Humans were not only learning to use alien technology, they were becoming better at it than the creatures who had built it. This should have been impossible according to every military theory the Empire had developed over centuries of conquest. Underground in the sewers of New York City, former CIA operative Kevin Murphy coordinated the largest sabotage operation in human history. His network of resistance cells now covered every continent, connected by stolen alien communication devices and good old-fashioned human determination. Berlin team reports the alien power grid is down, reported his communications. Operator, a teenager named Jake who had learned to speak Zephyrian better than most aliens. Moscow team destroyed 3 supply convoys yesterday. Tokyo team has taken control of an entire alien base. Kevin studied the map on his wall, marked with pins representing successful resistance operations. 6 months ago, Earth's governments had fallen in days. Now, humans controlled more territory at night than the aliens controlled during the day. Send word to all teams, Kevin ordered. Phase 2 begins tomorrow. It is time to stop hiding and start hunting. The plan Kevin had developed would have been impossible without the discoveries made by Dr. Amanda Foster and her team of scientists. Working in hidden laboratories around the world, they had not only learned how alien technology worked, they had found ways to make it better. The energy efficiency of their weapons increases by 30% when we modify the power coupling. This way, Amanda explained to a group of resistance engineers in her underground lab beneath Chicago. More importantly, human reflexes are faster than Zephyrian reflexes. We can fire, move, and fire again before they can target us. Amanda held up a weapon that looked like an alien energy rifle but hummed with different sounds. This modified version can penetrate their armor and has twice the range of the original. We can outfight them with their own technology. The tide of war was turning as humans learned to hunt their hunters. Across Earth, resistance fighters emerged from hiding places carrying weapons that glowed with alien energy. They moved through forests, cities, and deserts like predators stalking prey, turning the invasion into a nightmare for Zephyrian ground forces. In the Australian outback, Captain Maria Santos received new orders from General Torres, who had finally emerged from his mountain bunker with a fully equipped army. The time for hit-and-run tactics was ending. Earth was ready to fight back with everything it had learned. "We are not running anymore," Maria told her fighters as they prepared for their biggest operation yet. "Tomorrow we attack the main alien base in Sydney. We take it, we hold it, and we show every human on Earth that these invaders can be beaten." The assault on Sydney began at dawn as human forces struck from land, sea, and air simultaneously. Resistance fighters who had spent months learning alien weaknesses led regular soldiers in attacks that exploited every flaw in Zephyrian defenses. Emma Grant's squadron provided air support, diving through alien defensive fire to bomb key targets. On the ground, Maria Santos led armored vehicles that had been rebuilt with captured alien technology. From offshore, Admiral Blake's surviving naval forces shelled alien positions with modified energy weapons. The battle raged for 18 hours. But the outcome was never in doubt. Humans fought with the fury of people who had watched their world burn and decided to burn their enemies in return. When the last alien stronghold fell, over 2,000 Zephyrian soldiers surrendered rather than face more human attacks. "Sydney is ours," Maria reported to General Torres as human flags rose over the captured city. "The aliens are retreating to their orbital ships. I think they are finally scared of us." War Admiral Thexfer watched the evacuation of Sydney from his command ship with growing dread. His ground forces were requesting immediate withdrawal from Earth, reporting that human resistance had evolved into open warfare that his troops could not win. "Sir, we are losing this war," Commander Vextal admitted during their emergency conference. "The humans have learned to use our own weapons against us. They fight with coordination we cannot match and courage we cannot break. Our soldiers are demoralized and our equipment losses are unsustainable." Vexver studied casualty reports that grew worse every day. The quick conquest he had promised his superiors had become the longest, costliest campaign in Zephyrian history. Worse, the humans were now taking the fight to his forces instead of merely defending their territory. "Prepare the orbital bombardment platforms," Vexfer ordered with the desperation of a commander who was running out of options. "If we cannot control this planet with ground forces, we will destroy it from space." The Zephyrian Empire does not accept defeat. But even as he gave the order, Vexver knew that something fundamental had changed in this war. The humans had evolved from victims into predators, and they were no longer afraid of his mighty fleet. General Carl Torres emerged from his mountain bunker like a bear waking from winter sleep, angry and hungry for revenge. Behind him marched 10,000 soldiers carrying weapons that glowed with alien energy. The scattered resistance of the past 2 years had evolved into Earth's new army, trained by war and equipped with the best technology from 2 worlds. "Today we take back our planet," Torres announced to his assembled forces. "Every human who died, every city they burned, every child they captured, today we make them pay for all of it." The soldiers who stood before Torres looked nothing like the military he had commanded before the invasion. They wore captured alien armor modified to fit human bodies. They carried energy weapons that hummed with deadly power. Most importantly, they had the hard eyes of people who had learned to kill invaders without mercy or doubt. Engineer Sarah Johnson worked frantically in her makeshift laboratory as the final battle approached. The 32-year-old MIT graduate had spent 2 years studying alien shield technology, trying to understand how energy barriers that stopped human weapons could be overcome. "I think I have it," Sarah told her assistant, Dr. Pete Adams, as she connected the last wire in her experimental device. "Alien shields work by deflecting energy at specific frequencies. But if we can generate a resonance wave at exactly the right wavelength..." Sarah activated her machine and watched as an invisible pulse of energy spread outward. Across the laboratory, a captured alien shield generator flickered and died, its protective barrier collapsing like a soap bubble. "It works," Pete said in amazement. "We can bring down their shields from the inside." Within hours, Sarah's shield disruption technology was being installed in human weapons around the world. The one advantage that had kept alien ships safe from Earth's defenders was about to disappear forever. Captain Rick Palmer stood on the deck of the modified aircraft carrier Freedom as it approached the massive Zephyrian command ship hovering over the Atlantic Ocean. The 40-year-old Navy pilot had volunteered for the most dangerous mission in human history, boarding an alien mothership with a team of 50 volunteers. "Remember, we are not trying to capture the ship," Rick told his assault team as they prepared their equipment. "We are here to plant Sarah's devices and get out before the aliens know what hit them. Once their shields are down, Admiral Blake can finish the job." Rick's team launched in modified alien shuttles that looked exactly like Zephyrian transport craft. The alien ship's sensors detected nothing unusual as the shuttles docked with routine supply bays. By the time the Zephyrians realized they had been infiltrated, Rick's soldiers were already spreading through the ship's corridors. The fighting inside the alien vessel was brutal and close. Human soldiers moved through narrow hallways while Zephyrian defenders tried to contain the invasion. Rick's team had trained for months in mock-ups of alien ship layouts, learning every weakness in their design. "Charges planted in the shield generator room," reported Sergeant Lisa Hayes over the radio. "Power core is next on the list." "Engineering section secured," added Corporal Danny White. "Their entire technical staff is captured or eliminated." Rick fought his way to the ship's bridge, where Admiral Vexver waited with his personal guard. The alien commander's 3 red eyes blazed with fury as human soldiers burst through the armored doors he had thought were impenetrable. "Your species will be extinct within the day," Vexver snarled as he raised his energy weapon. "Zephyrian Empire has fleets on 100 worlds. Earth will burn for this insult." Rick smiled coldly as he aimed his modified alien rifle at the war admiral's chest. "Maybe your empire will come for revenge someday, but you will not be around to see it." The battle for the command ship ended when Sarah's shield disruptors activated throughout the vessel. Without protective barriers, the massive alien ship became vulnerable to attack from Admiral Blake's fleet waiting in Earth's orbit. "All teams evacuate immediately," Rick ordered as he led his survivors back to their shuttles. "This ship is about to become a very large firework." Blake's forces opened fire with every weapon they possessed as soon as Rick's shuttles cleared. The blast zone. Human and alien technology combined to pour destructive energy into the Zephyrian mothership until it exploded like a miniature sun above the Atlantic Ocean around the world. Similar battles raged as human forces attacked alien strongholds with weapons and tactics that the invaders could no longer counter. 2 years of brutal warfare had taught Earth's defenders exactly how to kill their enemies efficiently. In Tokyo, resistance fighters led by former police captain Yuki Tanaka stormed the alien command center that had controlled Eastern Asia for months. The Zephyrians fought desperately, but they were outnumbered by humans who knew every street and building in their own city. "The occupation of Earth is over," Yuki announced as she planted the Japanese flag on top of the fallen alien fortress. "We are free and we will never be slaves again." Similar victories happened in London, Berlin, Moscow, and every other city where aliens had tried to establish permanent bases. Humanity's counterattack was unstoppable because it was powered by 2 years of anger, grief, and determination to reclaim their homeworld. Dr. Amanda Foster watched the celebrations from her laboratory window as news of victory spread around the globe. The biologist who had spent the war studying alien weaknesses felt pride and sadness in equal measure as she considered what humanity had become. "We survived," she said to her assistant, Dr. Carol Martinez. "But we are not the same species that the aliens attacked 2 years ago. We have learned to be as ruthless as our enemies." Carol nodded as she looked at the modified weapons and armor that filled their workshop. "The question is whether we can learn to be peaceful again now that the war is over." Outside their window, human soldiers marched through the streets carrying alien technology and wearing the confident expressions of people who had defeated the impossible. Earth was free, but freedom had come at a price that would change humanity forever. The last Zephyrian ground forces surrendered, or fled to their remaining ships as Earth's liberation became complete. War Admiral Vexfer was dead, his command. Ship was destroyed, and his invasion force was scattered across space like debris from a shattered dream of conquest. But the war was not over yet. Above Earth's atmosphere, the surviving alien fleet prepared for one final, desperate attack that would determine whether humanity would live to enjoy their victory or die in the moment of their greatest triumph. Admiral Susan Blake stood on the bridge of her flagship, the rebuilt Enterprise Dawn, watching the final Zephyrian fleet gather above Earth like storm clouds preparing to unleash destruction. 2 years of war had aged her beyond her 60 years, but her blue eyes still blazed with the determination that had kept humanity fighting when all seemed lost. "They are positioning for orbital bombardment," reported her tactical officer, Commander Jake Martinez, who had survived the destruction of New Horizons Station and joined Blake's crew. 47 ships remaining, including 12 heavy cruisers, with planet-killing weapons. Blake studied the holographic display showing both fleets. Her own forces numbered 38 vessels, a mixture of surviving human ships and captured alien craft operated by crews who had learned to fight with enemy technology. On paper, the aliens still held the advantage. In reality, everything had changed. "Signal all ships," Blake ordered. "Today we finish what they started. Earth belongs to humanity, and we will defend it with everything we have learned." The human fleet moved to intercept the aliens with tactics that would have been impossible before the invasion. Fighter squadrons led by Emma Grant flew in formations copied from migrating birds, confusing alien targeting systems designed to track conventional military patterns. Capital ships moved in defensive clusters that protected each vessel while maximizing combined firepower. Commander Zexmar, the highest-ranking Zephyrian officer still alive, watched the approaching human fleet with growing unease. The primitive ships that had been destroyed so easily 2 years ago now moved with coordination and purpose that reminded him, uncomfortably, of his own Navy's best formations. "Sir, the humans are using our own tactical doctrines against us," reported his weapons officer. "They have learned our weaknesses better than we know them ourselves." Zexmar nodded grimly as he prepared to give the order that would destroy Earth's surface. The Zephyrian Empire could not allow news of this defeat to reach other worlds. If primitive humans could resist successfully, other species might try to rebel against imperial rule. "Begin planetary bombardment," Zexmar commanded. "If we cannot have this world, then no one can." The first wave of alien plasma beams struck Earth's atmosphere like falling stars, aimed at major population centers. But instead of finding defenseless cities, they encountered Sarah Johnson's shield technology, protecting human settlements with barriers of pure energy that deflected the attacks harmlessly into space. "Impossible," Zexmar whispered as he watched. "His most powerful weapons fail to penetrate Earth's defenses." "Those shields are using our own technology." Blake smiled coldly as she watched alien bombardment beams bounce off her planet's protective barriers. "Now they know how we felt too. Years ago, Jake, signal all ships to begin the attack." The final battle for Earth's freedom began with Emma Grant's fighter squadrons diving through the alien formation like wolves attacking a flock of sheep. Human pilots who had learned to fly captured alien craft used their superior reflexes and knowledge of enemy weaknesses to destroy targets that should have been impossible to defeat. "Fox leader to all squadrons," Emma called over the radio as her modified fighter tore through an alien cruiser's hull. "Their shield generators are exactly where the intelligence report said they would be. Hit them hard and fast." Behind the fighters came the main human fleet, led by Blake's flagship and supported by vessels commanded by officers who had learned to fight dirty. During 2 years of desperate warfare, they used asteroid fields for cover, disabled alien ships instead of destroying them, and coordinated attacks with a precision that impressed even their enemies. Captain Rick Palmer commanded the captured alien dreadnought Liberation, Its weapons. Systems modified by human engineers to fire faster and hit harder than the original design. His crew was a mixture of former military personnel and civilians, who had learned to operate advanced technology through necessity and determination. "Target their command ship," Palmer ordered as his guns locked onto the alien fleet's flagship. "Take out their leadership and the rest will fall apart." The Liberation's modified weapons punched through alien shields like they were made of paper, sending destructive energy into the heart of Zexmar's vessel. The Zephyrian commander barely had time to realize his defeat before his ship exploded. In a ball of plasma that lit up Earth's night sky, with their leader dead and their bombardment ineffective, the remaining alien ships tried to retreat. They found their escape route blocked by Admiral Blake's forces, which had positioned themselves between the Zephyrians and open space with the patience of hunters who had waited 2 years for this moment. "Attention alien fleet," Blake broadcast. "On all frequencies. You came to our world as conquerors. You burned our cities, enslaved our people, and tried to destroy everything we love. Now you will face the consequences of your actions." The battle that followed was less a fight than an execution. Human ships swarmed over alien vessels like antibodies attacking a virus, destroying or capturing every enemy craft with methodical efficiency. 2 years of brutal warfare had taught Earth's defenders exactly how to kill their invaders without mercy or hesitation. When the last alien ship surrendered, space around Earth was filled with drifting wreckage and the lights of human vessels returning home. The invasion that was supposed to end in days had lasted 2 years and cost both sides more than anyone had imagined possible. Dr. Amanda Foster stood before the emergency session of the United Nations, addressing representatives of every surviving government on Earth. The war was over, but its consequences would shape humanity's future for generations to come. "We are not the same species that was attacked 2 years ago," Amanda told the assembled delegates. "We have learned to fight with alien technology, to think like our enemies, and to kill without hesitation when our survival is threatened. The question now is what we do with these new abilities." Behind Amanda, displays showed captured alien vessels being converted for human use and weapons factories producing energy rifles for Earth's expanding military. Humanity had not only survived invasion, they had emerged stronger and more dangerous than ever before. "The galaxy now knows that Earth exists and that we can defend ourselves," Amanda continued. "Other species will come, some as enemies and some as potential allies. We must be ready for both." General Torres nodded from his seat in the audience, thinking of the reports his intelligence officers had compiled from captured alien databases. The Zephyrian Empire controlled dozens of worlds, and Earth's successful resistance would inspire rebellion throughout their territory. "We fought for our freedom and we won," Torres had told his staff earlier that day. "Now we must be prepared to help others fight for theirs." Emma Grant flew her modified fighter over the ruins of New York City, watching construction crews rebuild with alien technology that made the work go 10 times faster than before. The city that had been bombed into rubble was rising again, stronger and more advanced than it had ever been. Below her, Sarah Johnson's factories produced shield generators that would protect human settlements from any future attack. Around the world, similar facilities manufactured weapons, ships, and defensive systems using knowledge stolen from humanity's former conquerors. The invasion was over, but Earth was no longer the isolated world it had been before the aliens arrived. Humanity had joined the galactic community as warriors who had proven they could not be conquered, enslaved, or intimidated by superior technology. In the depths of space, automated probes launched from Earth began their journey to distant stars, carrying messages that would eventually reach every corner of the galaxy. The messages were simple but clear. Earth was ready to defend itself and anyone else who needed protection from tyranny. The Zephyrian Empire had invaded Earth expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would never rest until freedom was secure for all thinking beings. Humanity had paid the price for their independence in blood and sacrifice. But they had also learned the most important lesson in the universe: no one could take their freedom away as long as they were willing to fight for it.